For nearly 15 years, we've had attempt after attempt after attempt after attempt, and even two masterpiece figures to finally get a nice Bumblebee figure. So let's freaking talk about it. So here's Bumblebee in his robot mode, and he looks like I said in the preamble. Basically, he is pretty much near perfect here in this robot mode. The color is absolutely stunning, I have to say. It's beautiful, it's glossy, it doesn't feel cheap at all. Whereas Cliffjumper's was a little more matte, this is very much more, like I said, glossy and high quality. I really enjoy the paint apps on this figure. You can see that the crotch is painted. This isn't molded plastic or anything. That is painted, and it doesn't feel like it's gonna chip off like something like Cliffjumper. It's not cheap. The back is also completely molded plastic, which I really do like. This whole piece right here, all the translucent bits, the only bit that is painted on it is this little dab of paint right there, and it really helps make a cohesive and durable look for this figure, which I really like. Some of the things I don't like about modern Studio series or some of the like Siege figures and Earthrise figures is that the use of translucent plastic like breaks up the whole look of the figure and can paint chip, which isn't really fun. But this right here is going back to basics of how things were like about 10 years ago, where they made translucent plastic and opaque plastic and just put it together like this, and I absolutely love it. That's awesome that they did that. He also feels very different from Cliffjumper, despite being a remold and a repaint. So I really do like it. It does justify getting this figure. It's not something like Runabout and Runamuck where the only thing changed is their heads and their colors, where it just kind of feels maybe. But this is definitely a little more worth it to me. And also, he's got pretty standard articulation, but not to say that that's a bad thing, because the standard articulation we've been getting in Earthrise and Siege is just perfect. He can pretty much get in most poses that you want him to be in. Yes, this does include the ridiculous ankle pivot that Studio Series 18 Bumblebee had. Now, all that being said, I do have a couple nitpicks about this figure, in robot mode at least. We'll get to vehicle mode in a second. Now, my first set of nitpicks really is just about very minor things, and that being stuff like the chest being upside down, and I get that it creates a more little kind of tummy curve shape, which I do appreciate, but the window's up here, and I'm not a big fan of that. Another thing that I'm not a big fan of is his eyes. Now, this was a problem that you saw on stuff like Earthrise Grapple and Earthrise Optimus Prime, is that you can't even see his eyes. I mean, they are painted, but the kind of paint that they use and the kind of plastic that they use to paint it on is basically, you can't even see it. I might be able to change my lighting here, and maybe you can see it. But honestly, I've just cycled through 3 different lightings, and it just doesn't change the fact that you can't really see his eyes, which I'm not too happy about, but it's a nitpick. My biggest complaint about this figure is his weapons. Now, he comes with all of this. He comes with 6 accessories, I believe, including this little shield, which does peg onto his back, of course, just to keep it all together. He comes with 2 of these blasters, 2 of these little things, and this kind of club thing. All of this came with Cliffjumper, and I really hate this, because this was Cliffjumper's weapon in the pilot, and not Bumblebee's weapon. But it's kind of like if you packaged an Optimus Prime Ion Blaster with a Siege Hound. Like, it doesn't make sense. It's not their character. And it doesn't work. And I feel like this gun is only being included in all of these Minibot remolds to justify the $17, $20 price point.
And I really don't like that. I wish they had maybe included something else, like maybe a Spike figure would be cool. And I know they're doing that for Buzzworthy Bumblebee, but I wish they had just maybe included Spike and his regular pistol, which you can only get, at the time being, you can only get in the Centurion weapons pack or whatever it is, which is currently sold out in Hasbro Pulse, and it has been since summertime. But despite all my nitpicks, let's get this guy into vehicle mode. So here's Bumblebee in his pretty much perfect alt mode. Obviously the classic Volkswagen Beetle. Now, I honestly have nothing truly negative to say about this, besides some nitpicks. That being some of the panel lines here, of course, on the side, which is pretty much a given for any Transformers figure, as well as a little bit of ugliness here in the panel line. It doesn't work perfectly. I also have a slight blemish right there, if you can barely see it. So there's really nothing to complain about in this alt mode. Besides, of course, like I said, just really nitpicky things. Like, I could complain about how the paint doesn't match. And I don't know if you can see that quite very much on my lights. But honestly, really nothing awful to say about it.
For the size comparisons, here we have Generation 1 Bumblebee and Siege Sideswipe.
My final thoughts on this figure, just go out there and pick it up. That's all I can say about this figure. It's practically near perfect. I'd say more perfect than even Earthrise Optimus Prime. It's just a stunning figure. Unfortunately, it is an exclusive, so and stuff is getting clearanced out of Walmart right now. So if you can go find this guy, pick him up when you see him, because he's not going to be around for a lot longer, honestly. The most we can hope for is a reissue in the Buzzworthy line, but that might be a long shot, to be honest. So thanks for watching my video, and make sure to subscribe to my channel for more extra content. I hope to be doing a full collection tour for the first time in the 5 years that I've had this channel, and I'm really excited to do that. So please make sure to subscribe and stay tuned for more content like this, as well as other things like more reviews and collection tours and all sorts of wonderful stupid things about Transformers and whatnot. So have fun with your Happy New Year's.